Hi guys, my name's Brianna and today we're going to be making a mini succulent wreath. So I like to make my wreaths by hand, but I know that some of you might not want to or might not feel quite confident enough to make your own, so that's perfectly fine. You can get your wreaths from Spotlight. They sell like a variety of different ones, little ones, big ones, for like a reasonable price. Now let's have a look at the resources that you'll be needing. So I've got a little handful of baby succulents. Then I've got my twine, paintbrush, and tacky glue. So this tacky glue you can actually get from Spotlight, as well as the wreath that we mentioned earlier. So that's all sorted. The stain that I use is like a waterproof aqua deck stain. So that's also from Bunnings, and you can get like a smaller tub, which is a lot cheaper. And then the sphagnous as well, that's also from Bunnings. You can get big packs, little packs, whatever you prefer. I've got like my little handful of sticks, but as I said earlier, you guys can own wreaths from Spotlight. The first thing is I'm going to show you how to make your own wreath if you're wanting to. So if you see here, I've got a bunch of sticks that I've already like pre-stripped. And this one is obviously one that I've just trimmed straight off the tree. So you've got to sort of find like your longest, thickest, most sturdiest bit. So this one's nice and long and it's relatively thick except for at the end here. So what you're going to do is like start your first part of your wreath, which is I like to make just like one simple circle. I'm going to carefully bend it and then create my circle shape. So what you're going to do is you can see you've got like this tag left over. So you actually want to wrap it within itself, and that's going to make sure that the circle stays a circle and it stays nice and together. So when I let go, that should be, oh, it's a little bit obscure, but we can fix that up throughout it. So I've got my first circle shape. We're going to go through and find some nice little skinny sticks. Oh. So it's such a pain dealing with sticks sometimes. So yeah, get them to some nice skinny sticks. And so we finished here, and what I'm basically going to do is just find a good spot. Hopefully you guys can see this on screen. So just find a good spot for it to sort of slot in, and then just continue where I left it. So I'm just going to carefully bring it over. And then just sort of continue to do that same wrapping around and around. Obviously I'm doing it super quick, but you've got to be careful because sometimes the sticks can snap midway, so if you're giving it too much stress and it starts to get on like too much of an angle, the sticks may snap. So, oh, it's looking a bit blobby, isn't it? It's alright, it gets there. So don't get stressed if it's not exactly suiting, and if bits aren't going in, you basically just snap it off, chug it away. So the next layer is done. Beautiful. A little spot to catch it. Yep, that's gonna work. And then you go over and under. Yep, and over. Awesome, and there we have it. And now that we've finished making the wreath, what you're going to be doing now is staining it. So if you prefer sort of this natural colour, then that's okay, you can prefer not to stain it, but I like to give it that nice deep caramel colour, and it also helps it with waterproof things, so you're not going to have rotted sticks in the future, so it's always good. Alright, well, put my glove on. So this stuff does stain your clothes, so obviously you'll want to be wearing an apron or something, so I've got my trusty overalls on. And I just put a glove on this hand because generally I'll be holding it and painting, so it's pretty hard and annoying to get off your skin. So you just want to be dipping it. Dipping a good amount, giving it a little tap off, and then you're simply just going to be brushing it like so. There's not really any particular technique or anything you need to be doing, it's just a matter of painting. It can be a bit tricky to get like in between the sticks, so if you just sort of do a dabbing motion, that'll help spread the stain and get in all the little gaps for you. that's looking pretty good. Not sure how well you guys can see it, but it's sort of nice and caramelly. Pretty sure I've gotten in all the gaps. That was actually pretty quick. So basically you just let this sit in the sun for about 10-15 minutes and then you'll be ready for the next stage. So it's been about 10 minutes and my wreath is pretty much dry. I'm just a bit impatient and I decided to go ahead with it. Moving on to the moss stage. So we're just going to be pulling out the moss carefully. And then we're going to be placing it like so on top of our wreath. Cool. And then what you're going to be doing is just squeezing it nice and tightly to sort of mold it together so it sort of like becomes part of the wreath. And for this part you want to make sure that there's a nice thick layer of moss on top of your wreath, because when you're adding the succulents you have want there to be space for the stem to sit and obviously roots to grow in time. I've got my moss all attached to the wreath. Now what I'm going to be doing is unraveling my twine carefully, and you're just going to be placing the twine underneath and then tying a nice tight double knot on either the left or right side of your moss. Beautiful. And now you want to make sure there's a little tag here, because after we're wrapping we're going to be using this to help tie it off at the end. And that's all your moss. So you should sort of squeeze it again nice and tightly together to make sure it's all secure in place, and then what you want to do is just shake it off like this. Get all that excess stuff off, make sure it's nice and attached. So now it's time for the most exciting part, the gorgeous succulents. So what I like to do is I just prepared a little planting stick and then I sort of trimmed it so that it's nice and sharp and able to go through the moss nicely. With your succulents, I like to arrange it with bigger succulents in the middle, so I've got these two gorgeous ones here and they're going to be like my centerpiece for my wreath. Making a couple of little holes, and for now we're not, as I said, we're not using any glue, we're just going to place them and sort of see where we want them to go. That looks good. I'm going to create another little hole, making sure it's nice and deep because you want the stem to go nice and deep into the moss so they're not going to fall off in a matter of weeks from like weight. So two little babies. Lovely. So just having a play, sort of figuring out where you want these succulents to go. I'm going to put this one there. I'm going to go this way. I've got a pretty good idea now where I want my succulents to go, so now we're going to move on to the gluing stage. Alright, so what we're going to do is there's a variety of options, so you can either pour it into a little tub and then dip your succulents in the tub, or what else I like to do is just pour the glue into the hole. Now you want to be adding a decent amount, and don't worry because this will dry clear, so you want to completely fill that hole up and then just carefully place your sucky in there. Now it will take about 5 to 10 minutes to start actually like holding in place, but it shouldn't take too long, especially on a hot day. It dries really quick. Alright, so filling it up, whoop, was a bit crazy, and then plopping that into the hole. Now you obviously don't want to get too much on the succulent leaves, but it's not the end of the world if you do, so just carefully place it. And here's the final result. So you should see all the big succulents in the middle and then spraying out to the big suckers. Pretty. Well, that is the end of my succulent wreath tutorial. I hope you enjoyed creating your own little masterpiece, if that's what you did while you watched it along, or I hope you just enjoyed watching it anyway. I feel so weird doing this, but if you enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I also run a small business called These Quirky Creations on Facebook. Feel free to check it out and purchase any of my pieces, or even come to one of my workshops if you'd like. Thanks guys.